Connor actually almost broke down and started crying at the beginning of the show after the statement was made by Bill Belichick, where he got emotional when he was talking about the fans and how appreciative he was of them. And he's been doing a lot of like nostalgia, going through old videos, old photos of him at parades, him at games with his dad and his brother, and what Bill Belichick has brought to him in the entire New England area and Patriots fans. Obviously a bit emotional. How are you feeling while watching that all kind of take place and a dynasty officially being over? Rob Ninkovich.
So, Pat, I'm going to be honest with you. This shit got me emotional, man. It's insane because you're looking at Bill Belichick. He's leaving after 24 years, the dynasty, and just the way he's talking. And clearly, Robert Kraft is talking about, well, when we see him on another sideline in a cutoff hoodie, so he's going to continue to coach. Clearly, that was a statement made by Robert Kraft that Bill Belichick's going to continue to coach. And the emotional part, obviously, Bill gave me an opportunity, and with that opportunity, I was able to take that, play a long time, win a lot of football games, win championships, and it was an amazing opportunity for me at the time because I was out of the league, basically out of the league. I had an ACL injury, and he was the only guy that gave me a chance. So I owe a lot of what I have today to Bill Belichick and giving me that opportunity. But the emotional side of it, it's pretty tough because moving forward, you look around the league right now, there are teams that have and the coaching kind of like iffy coaching, and Bill Belichick is walking out the door. So it's a weird time. I mean, you look at the you look at Seattle right now, right? And Pete Carroll is not going to be the head coach for that football team, a guy with a ton of experience, and then Bill Belichick leaving the Patriots, is going to clearly go and coach somewhere. It's definitely a weird time in New England, probably the first time in a long time that anybody has felt this way as a Patriot fan.
Yeah, certainly. 24 years of success at the GM and the head coaching position, which leads me to my next question for you. Obviously, as a head coach, he's the greatest of all time. Everybody kind of talks about that. I have said, though, and I think you kind of alluded to that, where you're out of the league, nobody gave you a chance, and he brings you in, and you become a Pro Bowler, multiple-time Super Bowl champion. Nobody talks about his... Did you ever make the Pro Bowl?
No. Well, that's the fan vote. The fan vote. I'm sure the player vote I would have got in, but the fan vote, the popularity there, I didn't get it. But it's okay. I was close. I was pretty close. I think I was like on the average Joe team. I think I made that once.
All right. Well, hey, there we go.
Pretty good team.
That's a good team. That's a good team. I was on that one a few times as well, but nonetheless had immense success. And he saw that, found that, brought that in, did the negotiation. He did the whole. Never gets talked about how great of a general manager he is because he didn't build the team in the same way that I think they would want to dream fantasy football build a team in general management. So like 6 Super Bowls as GM. Do you think he just gives that up? I think he said in a press conference that he doesn't have to be the guy that's being GM, just wants to do whatever is best for the team. But whoever brings him in next, let's say it could be any job, let's say anywhere. Do you think he's GM and coach and they're bringing the whole song and dance to the next place? Or how do you think this is kind of a line going forward? And what was he like as a GM day to day as you had to work with him?
Well, he's definitely a very smart negotiator. He understands the leverage aspect of contracts, right? So Bill's the best. You're not going to get one over on Bill in any type of contract negotiation. So, as far as him going somewhere else, I would think that he would look at this as an opportunity to go somewhere that maybe has some more talent offensively, maybe has an offensive line that he doesn't have to go and build up or find a quarterback or get a receiver, all those things that in New England right now, if you watch this team this year, they struggled offensively in a lot of areas. So if you're Bill Belichick, you don't have time, 4 or 5 years to build something. You want to go somewhere and you want to win right now. So you look at this environment in the NFL right now. If you're a team that maybe you're one piece away, maybe you need a quarterback, and Bill's able to go and find somebody, bring in somebody and work with what they have, it'd be an opportunity for that team to do some great things. So, even for you look at the Cowboys, I think, I don't know who said it on Get Up, but I do believe that somebody was saying that McCarthy, if he doesn't win, that it might be his last year. And I could see Bill Belichick, say Green Bay goes down to Dallas and takes care of business. I could see Jerry Jones saying, "Hey, Bill. Hey, man.
How much?
I only got so many times left to so to speak, at the old glory hole. So, Bill be licking his chops to go down there to Dallas with a team that's loaded like that.
Yeah, glory hole is always tough to find. I used to watch that Gold
Rush.
Gold Rush.
Yeah.
They're always looking for that glory.
Yep.
That's it. Hey, you found that hole right there.
Yeah, the glory one. There's gold on the other side of it, obviously.
That's
and then there's that meme where, the guy with the axe is walking.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's just this far from the glory hole.
Close.
And then he
Very
turns
close.
around and he quits. Jerry ain't going to do that. We know that. That's a funny, we brought that up because whoever said it on First Take or Get Up wasn't like the first person to say that. Like a lot of people were like, Jerry Jones feels like the right person to work alongside Bill because Jerry understands Bill Belichick. They've been around each other for so long. Like anybody that hires him has to be a guy that understands who they're getting, right? And it kind of goes back to what I was originally asking about. Jerry Jones and his son Steven, I think, are the general manager president things. You think Bill would just want to say in that entire thing as opposed to doing the whole job and just focusing on coaching? Or how do you think that would go?
I think he would focus on coaching. And you look at the process, right? Over the years, he walked into the situation where the Patriots, when he first started, they were a team that was, they're kind of middle of the road, but they had a bunch of talent, right? And he was able to take that talent defensively and really make it a championship level defense. So if you let Bill Belichick come in and just coach your team up specifically on situational football, there might be less, before the halftime management issues with timeouts. I mean, we've seen that in the past.
Everywhere.
With Dallas. But, those are the little things that at the end of the day, your head coach is there to make sure he manages all those little situational football things that Bill really, he could do that in his sleep, right? So I think that with the situation correct and the good roster, Bill would be okay with coming in and saying, you know what? Y'all do the personnel, and I'll stick to what I do best, and that's coaching this football team.
Cowboys or wherever is obviously ridiculous with Bill Belichick as the head coach thinking about. But Mike McCarthy is 12-5 last 3 seasons.
Absurd.
Could be because that's Bill Belichick, though. I think like a lot of media people that maybe have been jaded by Bill Belichick don't have a grasp on the reality of like, hey, this is the guy. 71 years old, who cares? We'll take him over whomever. And you think he has success again? Conman has a question for you, but for me, you think he's able to get to the mountaintop one more time? If not, do you think he can? Do you think he will? Because obviously Tom going to Tampa, winning, huge part of the whole deal. Peyton Manning going to Denver, winning, huge part of the whole deal. Matthew Stafford going to Los Angeles Rams, winning, huge part of the whole deal. It feels like that is a part of it. You think Bill is able to do something similar? Andy Reid goes to Kansas City, wins. I mean, do you think that is something he'll be able to accomplish and will accomplish?
Yeah. I think given the right circumstance and a little bit of luck, Pat, in football, every single year, you lose one or two guys and you're in trouble, right? So if he was able to go to a roster that had a great quarterback, things that he was able to work with and things worked out well during the season, he didn't lose anybody that was a major piece. I think Bill, obviously, whatever team that he goes to, they would clearly be a team that you would think has an opportunity to get to a Super Bowl. I think with his pedigree and the way that he does coach everybody, and everybody says he's a defensive coach. Bill is a 3-phase football coach. He was a special teams coach. When I first got there, I made the team as a long snapper, punt team guy, right?
I bet.
Right?
Hell yeah.
So, right?
Yeah.
So I got to that team. The only way that I made that team was to go in at 5 a.m., meet with Brian Flores in a little cubicle, and every day, because he was an assistant special teams coach at the time, and me and B-Flow would go through everything. Because Bill said the only way you're going to have a chance here, you got to do multiple things, and you got to play on teams. And he was a special teams coach. He's a defensive coach. We all know that, but he's also an offensive coach. So wherever he goes, he's going to help every phase.
And he's going to feel rejuvenated, I'd assume, as well. That's what we talked about with Aaron whenever he got over to the Jets. Those first OTAs, there's somebody in here that has never seen Aaron Rodgers throw a football before.
Yep.
A whole new training staff is getting to watch Aaron Rodgers' warm-up. So now his warm-up is even the best that it's ever been. You got a whole new tone and a standard that you have to show to people that maybe have never seen it but have certainly heard about it. That can really do something, especially to a motivated human being. Conman has a question for you, and I'll tell you what, Ninko, you said you were getting emotional. So was he. That was beautiful to watch. It was beautiful to watch Con.
Yeah, it's a tough day, Nick. You know that. And, Pat mentioned you're 2-time Super Bowl champion. Thank you for those, by the way. Not just 2 Super Bowls either. The Malcolm Butler interception Super Bowl, Seattle comeback, Atlanta Falcons 28-3 comeback. From those 2 games, or even, before the game leading up to it, is there anything that stands out to you that you remember from Bill specifically, whether it was a pregame speech or even a night before speech like he's done before? Everyone goes back to the Philadelphia Super Bowl that we won in 2004, against Andy Reid, and about how they already mapped out the parade in the Philly newspaper for that Tuesday leading up, and he showed the team and everything. Was there anything like that kind of hit you that you weren't expecting today, or one that you always go back to when you're thinking about your time in New England with Bill?
Yeah, so there was a moment in I go back to when we were playing the Giants in Indianapolis, actually, and I remember
great city.
It was the fourth quarter, right? I'm actually on a knee, and I remember this like yesterday. The helmet that I have from that game actually still has the paint on the back side of it because I was leaning on my helmet, and there was a point in that game where the offense had the ball, they were driving. And I remember looking up at the scoreboard, and I was thinking to myself at that time, we're going to win this game, and I'm going to win my first Super Bowl, okay? And then we all know what happened. There was that throw. Wes drops the pass. We should have been able to put the game away at that point. It didn't happen. We go back out on the field, couple crazy catches. They march down the field. Defensively, there's a term called Rolex, right? And when you hear Rolex, that's the worst possible thing you can hear defensively because you're letting them score.
No mas, no mas.
You want to save time. Now, offensively, that's the best call you want to hear because it's basically telling you not to score, right? Rolex, don't score. So we let them score. Bradshaw should have stopped. He tried, but he rolled into the end zone. So they go up. We lose that game. Now, going back from that point on, I kept thinking about the moment that I looked at the clock and I thought to myself I was going to win a Super Bowl. So going up to the Seattle game, right? So we're playing Seattle. This is 2014. This is the night before the game. And Bill gives a speech to the whole team. And at some point, it was like a lightning bolt, and it struck me because he said, all right, at some point in this game, we might be up or we might not be. We might be down, or you might mess up. You might miss a play. You have to make sure that you forget about what happened the play before, and you can't look to 2 plays ahead. You can't look to the end of the game. You can't look at the clock and think we're going to win this game based on any situation. And when he said that,
he's talking to me.
He's talking to me, right? He's talking to me. But I think it's human nature at certain points in a game to look at the time left on the clock. You look at the score and you think, we got this. We are going to win this game. And he brought it back to think about what your responsibility is in your assignment for the specific play that's about to happen. If you could be punting the ball and you're trying to get it inside the 5. You could be on kickoff return and your job is to kick out the tackle. You could be on punt team and you got the 2-3 twist, right? All those things that every single guy has a responsibility on the team. Think about what your job is for that specific moment. And if you can do that and then move on to the next play, move on to the next play. Don't think about the end of the game. And there were moments in that game where it was tough to do that, right? We go up, we go down. Before the half, Russell Wilson throws a touchdown pass. Then we come back in the second half. They're driving the football. The crazy catch with the tip pass when Malcolm comes in, right? On the 5, they run the ball. And then they throw the interception. That whole time, I just kept thinking, I got to do my job. I got to continue to just focus on the next play. And Bill's speech before that game really struck me and made me do that throughout that whole game. And then we won that game. It was like a weight coming off my chest because it had been 10 years since the Patriots had won a Super Bowl. It was 2004 and then it was 2014. And I was the new regime. I was the new chapter, the Patriot way of the new defense coming in. I wasn't Vrabel. I wasn't McGinnis. I wasn't Brewski. I was the new guy, right? But I hadn't won anything. When you played for the Patriots in the early 2000s, 2010, 2011, 2012, everyone thought you won a Super Bowl. It's like, no, I lost one, and now I'm trying to win one. So 14 was such a big moment for me because it had been 10 years. A lot of people don't realize it was 10 years between 04 and their next Super Bowl.
And he was there the whole damn time. What a stud. Just like you. We appreciate the hell out of you, Ninko. What's the name of your podcast?
Pat, this is the Dan and Ninko Show. So we do once a week. It's a fun show. We review beer. We have a great time. We talk about local New England sports, cars, because I love cars.